dealing with somewhat the same thing, somewhat the same design. You have two volumes so that we can dial in the amount of grind. We still have that mid-range so that we can dial as much or as little mid as we like. And then that same presence knob, that 2.5K that we were talking about. Now it's the Deputy 2, so maybe it refers to the two speakers, or maybe he made a few circuit designs. Well, let's find out. I know that it is 6L6 bass, which is of course the power tubes.
No.
Oh, it's not.
It's
not.
This is different.
It's EL34.
Yes.
It's a Marshall killer. EL34s, oh no. So the EL34s, I believe there is a quartet.
That's correct.
Yes. So there's a quartet of EL34s. Now when I say Marshall killer, of course, Marshall, the Deputy. Gar didn't really work on his jokes a lot, but he got one of them in. One or two of them in, right? Now, of course, because Marshall was dominating the scene at the time, especially with hard rock and various things like that going on, high watt as well, they were starting to gain some traction. Ampeg was trying to get their legs, not only with their SVT, their very classic bass amps, but as well with their VT series guitar amps, which are works of art on their own. Now, with this guy here, let's see what we got. So, starting from, let's check out channel 1 again and see if it has those same treble-y characteristics. Yes, it does. All right, so rolling back that treble, we'll bring that channel up again. With all the treble rolled off, kind of dig it. That's cool. That actually has quite a bit of bass to it. I'm not sure if we're dealing with is it a closed back or an open back design? Do you
Closed.
remember? It is a closed back.
But there's a port, and there's a port on the bottom.
So there you go. So especially with closed back designs, and especially with a ported design, the whole point of the port is to increase that low end resonance and to get more of a push and more out of the more body out of the bass. He's got it, right? That thing is cooking. So now, as we start to roll in this second channel, let's see what that's going to do, right? It's just going to bring up more awesome. Cool. All right. So as we bring in more of this channel, mid-range, and the bass is somewhat pushed, and we have no presence, right? No presence whatsoever. I don't think you'd have a problem cutting, right? Now, the interesting thing is that modern PA design and sound reinforcement has changed so drastically over the years that a lot of the times on a big stage, and especially if you're playing the big stages, maybe you could use a bigger amp, but lots of the pros that I know, they have multiple amps to fit multiple stages. It's just a smarter way to think and an easier way to dial in your tone. If you're the quintessential guitar player on stage and you're too loud, well, maybe you have a great tone, but if you're setting stage left seats 3 to 18 on fire, it's not the best for your audience, right? They don't dig it, not so much. So with modern PA design and sound reinforcement, if you put a microphone on an amp, the PA will do all the work for you. Now, as cool as this is, I don't know if I would necessarily roll, unless it was like a festival stage, like a really big stage starts to become so much more open, you don't have all of these surfaces for the sound to bounce around and come back at you and be the loudest thing in the room. Now on a big open stage, you can start to open up these big guys, but other than a festival stage, might not be the best. Like a club like, I don't know, the Palomino or Broken City, something like that. I don't think you're really going to get away with it, right? But why not try? I really dig this amp. It's very happening. Now, as this presence, let's just check this out and see what it's going to do. So let's say presence at halfway. See, right there, you've got much more cut, and it's got much more sizzle in the top end, the high end there. Let's check that out again. Like so. Right? It's there. There's way more cut to that. Now as we start to crank that presence, let's see what that's going to do. You know, I would call that sizzle. You know, that thing's going to cut through concrete if you need it to. You know? All right, so let's say this thing is definitely bona fide, deputy, love it. This guy right here, Deputy II, double bona fide, double love. Whatever the hell that means. All right. So now this reverb unit, don't know if we'll get a chance to try necessarily, but these are all pretty straight ahead. They've got their spray. I assume it's a 12AX7 and a 66 prime. Potato salad. All right.
I don't think there's a power tube.
Oh no?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay. So usually with a reverb unit, you know, these were kind of big in the 60s because you'd see lots of guys. Reverb was this really cool thing. It was introduced by Ampeg with the reverbal rocket in '61. And then as soon as they did that, well, everybody wanted to jump on the reverb wagon. They'd had reverb in studios for years using plate and then into spring